In this video, we're going to look at the blood vessels serving the heart muscle. So starting off, the left and right coronary arteries are going to be branching off the base of the aorta. So at the bottom of the aorta, on the right side, we can see the right coronary artery pretty easily. Again, a good landmark to have is the superior vena cava, knowing that's on the right side of the heart. So then you know you're looking at the right coronary artery. So coming off the base, it's going to wrap around. It's sitting underneath of right atrium, so between right atrium and the right ventricle. It's going to send off a branch that goes to the side of the heart, and then it's going to continue to send off a branch that goes to the back of the heart. The left coronary artery is a little bit trickier to see. Kind of on this model, you can imagine there's just a portion of it peeking through right there. But it comes off the base of the aorta, and then it's going to run underneath of this pulmonary trunk. We can kind of see it on the smaller heart models if we take off that front piece. If we take off this front piece, we can get a view of those coronary arteries, the very edges of them. So here's the aorta. On the right side, we have superior vena cava. We know we're on the right side. That's the very beginning of the right coronary artery. On this side, if we turn it around, peeking through, running underneath the pulmonary trunk, this would be the last bit of the left coronary artery. It's that little nub right there. So if I put this front piece back on, we see more of the right coronary artery as it continues going around. But the left coronary artery, it's going to be given a different name as it comes around to this side. So we'll see that. So that's what we can see using primal pictures. I have a printout of that. If we removed the pulmonary trunk, which would be running through right here, we can start to visualize the right coronary artery coming off the aorta and then the left coronary artery coming off on this side over there. So those are the coronary arteries. You have left and right. Let's look at the interventricular arteries. So those are going to be situated between the ventricles. Inter means between. You have one on the anterior side of the heart and then one on the posterior side of the heart. So on the front, this is going to be anterior interventricular artery, this one in red. Posterior is going to be on the back. If I take this off, we can see the back a little bit better. So this on here. So more on the right side is going to be the posterior interventricular artery. You could also say posterior IV artery would be fine. There are two sets of arteries and veins back here. You don't need to identify these ones more on the left side. It's just these ones on the right. So if there's anything tagged on the back, the red one is going to be the posterior interventricular artery. So we had two interventriculars. We have anterior and we have posterior on the back. Then there's going to be two arteries to know that are going to be running on the sides of the heart. These are the marginal arteries. Margin means side. So over here on the right side, there's that superior vena cava. Again, there's two sets of arteries that are branching off. You don't need to know these ones that are on top. The lower set of vessels to know, so continuation off of right coronary artery. This red one is the right marginal artery. So coming off kind of the lower set on the right side of the heart, that red one there. Left marginal artery is over here on the left side. This here, so it's the only one coming down the side. This red one is the left marginal artery. There's an extra piece to know. So we had said we had left coronary artery divides off, but then coming down, that was the anterior interventricular artery. This one that continues around is called the circumflex artery. It's kind of where that branching is out here. This is that circumflex artery. It's kind of like it's forming a circumference. It's sitting underneath of that left atrium, technically. It follows the same pathway as the right coronary artery does. So we have right coronary artery, and then we have the circumflex artery. Coming down the side here was the left marginal artery. On this one was the right marginal artery. We can look at these same ones on the smaller heart model. Again, we have anterior interventricular artery right here. On the right side, we're going to have right marginal artery, this red one. And then on the back, we can see the posterior interventricular artery coming through here. So right gives off the right side, comes to the back. Left coronary artery is going to come up here. The circumflex is much thinner in this model. This one coming down the side is the left marginal artery. So those are going to be the arteries to know. For the veins, there's going to be 3 main veins to know. They are named a cardiac vein. So we have coronary arteries left and right, and then know the cardiac veins. So you have a great, middle, and small cardiac vein. So kind of all of these are contributing to the great cardiac vein. So tag like anywhere through here. These blue ones, part of the great cardiac vein. Small cardiac vein is going to be on the side, technically on the right side of the heart. This blue one that's running along with the right marginal artery. Again, there are other veins that you can see, but you won't need to identify them on the practical. So on the right side is the small. They'll start with S. And then on the back is the middle cardiac vein. It runs along with the posterior interventricular artery. It's this one in blue running down here. You won't have to identify that one. So if it's on the back, that's the middle cardiac vein. All the veins of the heart are going to drain into this structure here called the coronary sinus. Okay, that does have the name coronary in the name. It's sitting right underneath the left atrium, but it's bringing oxygen poor blood from the heart muscle, and so it's going to need to deliver the blood to the right atrium. And if we open this up, we can actually see there's going to be the opening for the coronary sinus is this red dot right in there. So that's where the coronary sinus drains into the right atrium. Okay, we can see those same veins on the bigger heart model. So yeah, it's technically, so all of these are contributing to the great cardiac vein. On the pictures, I pointed to this one specifically. So this blue one is the great cardiac vein. If we go to the right side, that's where we can see the small cardiac vein on the side here in blue. And then the back is going to have the middle cardiac vein, also in blue. And then we have the big coronary sinus that collects all that blood from the veins before going back into the right atrium. And there's the opening of the coronary sinus.